So Kurt and I were just talking about our interview with Vivek, and I said, Vivek, I would not want to try to buy a car from him because he would definitely get me into a junker and make me think I was driving a Mercedes, because that's what he did with Israel-Palestine right there. I didn't look how good the Palestinians are living in Israel. It's like that was mind blowing the way he twisted that like that. And he does say that he shifted the conversation because he is going to appoint the UN ambassador, and then he shifted it to, I don't support the UN. But that's not the point. The point is, what are you going to do? Now, he talks like, first of all, he's not going to be the nominee. It's going to be Trump. So
this is vice president talk.
But it is vice president talk. And so if he, if you didn't fund Israel couldn't do any of this stuff. Yeah. So at that point, I guess that's he's better than the Democrats, better than the Republicans, better than RFK on that. He's better. Not going to fund them.
He's saying something better. They're all, it's like all the betters, just to qualify this, are what people are saying. Not anything they did. What they did. So I don't think he would. Maybe he wouldn't. I don't know. But as far as sayings, I would say he did the best of anyone you talk to. Certainly you see the difference between a guy who has a shot at anything and Cornel West and or even like Marianne Williamson, who has gotten more, I've noticed, learned more stuff since arguing with you.
Of course.
Yeah. Because they have to go, they got to look at it. He did a deep dive on January 6th. There's no way he don't know about the stuff that goes on over there. There's no way he doesn't.
Exactly. If he knows what's going on January 6th, if he sees what's going on in Ukraine, he knows what's going on in Israel, Palestine, and Gaza, and even what's going on in the West Bank, right? And so, that was a great point you made when he said, the bigger human rights thing that's is happening to the Uyghurs. There's 1 million people in a concentration camp. No, there's 2 million Palestinians in a concentration camp.
The Palestinians don't have jobs making Nikes. They have 60% unemployment.
That's right. and they're just like, and the Israelis are counting their calories, just like you said. That's real German shit.
And also funding Hamas the whole time.
And that's the point I wanted to get to too. But he only gave us 35 minutes. I didn't have to. I wanted to get to that. I wanted to get to the head of their Secret Service just admitted that they funded Hamas because the Palestinian Liberation Organization is committed to being nonviolent, and that I'm going to play it in a second. And that they actually set all this up so they could do this violence.
Well, he said all he was going to say on that, and.
Yeah,
I am impressed by this. Is like
his press with his politicking, but not his position.
Well, I don't. What
I mean, he was slick. He got through that.
Okay, if I had to think about what his position is based on what he said, it's like, well, I'm not paying for any of these people's stuff, so that problem will solve itself. Don't worry. I can't say that obviously because AIPAC. I'm running for president of America, as I said, which means there ain't no way I'm going to call out Israel doing any crimes. Because you're not going to be president of America calling out that kind of shit. You're going to be president. Like, I took it like, hey, those tweets I made about it's divine and this and that, that's all the funding I'm going to give to Israel is the promise, right? Like, I'm going to say those things to them and cut off their money, which, okay, that sounds good. I mean, it's crazy what's going on right now, but I guess what can you do? And, let's move on to another of my things, how I hate wokeness. We all hate wokeness, dude. We all hate it. I know, Woke Inc., you wrote a book. I was dealing with that shit 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, all the CEOs could have wrote a goddamn book. At the time, could have been like, fuck this. And when all these people that wrote a book just now, but I'm not even holding it against them. What it was an indicator to me of, it shows you where the entire thing is at. Because him being one of the better ones at talking about it, where it's not an absolute insult to your intelligence, the way you're getting politicked. The rest of them are like, oh, that's conspiracy talk. That's a Putin, like an absolute insult to your faculties of thought on every level. His was a little bit more respectful of a bullshitting because he's like, and I'm gonna come fun, so you're smart enough to put that together. What that means. We don't have to keep going on about this.
If the United States did cut the funding, and if the United States was not backing this ethnic cleansing in Gaza, that would not be happening, and Israel would have to become a good neighbor. But because the United States backs them and backs them with our military and backs them with our billions, They don't have to be a good neighbor. They can go in and do an ethnic cleansing. They can go in and they can bring suitcases full of cash and give it to Hamas. And so they could divide and conquer. So they're funding a terrorist organization that they say is a terrorist organization. By the way, aren't the Palestinians allowed to fight back against occupation? Of course they are.
I said people don't know what that means. They think occupation means the country of Israel doesn't have a right to exist. Oh, they're occupying Israel. No, they don't understand that it means
no, they're
Gaza.
Controlling Gaza. They're controlling it.
Right. No, people do not understand that.
They're doing a siege warfare on Gaza, which is a war crime. You're not allowed to do that. And they're controlling the water, they're controlling the food, they're controlling the electricity, they're controlling the internet, they're controlling everything. And that is supposed to be a war crime.
I'm still waiting for a solution from one of the presidential candidates to give you a solution. Where is the solution?
Why can't you do a one-state solution again? I mean, clearly...
Because here's why. Yeah. Because the Palestinians would outnumber the Jews, and then it wouldn't be a Jewish state anymore, and they want an ethno-Jewish state. Yeah. That's what they want.
I mean, will they outnumber them? It looks like...
yes, that's why they won't do that.
So,
and you can't give them
replacement. They feel,
and then it has to be an apartheid state. So they have to keep them second-class citizens, because if they get full right, then they'll be able to vote their way into everything, and then the Jews don't control Israel anymore.
I mean, look, if America was backing, hey, it's going to be a democracy and everybody gets rights, and then we'll come in and give you aid if someone is not abiding by that.
Yeah,
that would be like a better.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
Well, because the plan was all about we need our
so I think
carrier.
I mean, from my limited knowledge of this, and my knowledge, to be honest, only started when this conflict started. I didn't know much about Palestine-Israel conflict. I knew that the Palestinians were being occupied and they were oppressed, but for the rest of it, I didn't know. I didn't know about how it started. I didn't know. But now everybody's getting, just like those videos we show of the Jewish woman who was a Zionist until she found out what it meant. And
right. Or they shot 3 hostages, the IDF, who had waving a white flag.
White flag. We're going to cover that today.
Great job, IDF.
And so now, because of this, because of what Israel's doing right now, everybody's becoming very educated on what the hell is going on, and I'm one of them. So I know a lot more than I did 2 months ago, for sure. A lot more.
Right.
And
well, now I look at his tweets about, like, if they want to go kill Hezbollah, go do it. Now, when I think about it, it's almost a mocking tone, because even the stuff I wrote was like, well, they're not going to do it. They can't do it. They literally can't defeat Hezbollah. They can't defeat that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Go ahead, go beat them. We're not paying you. That's like, which I would agree with him saying that, if that's what it means. I don't believe. And there's not anything against him personally. None of them, I believe,
is going to stop funding Israel. You don't believe he would stop funding Israel?
Never mind that. Any of the
I have a hard time believing that also.
Look, any of the things, and it's not even because I don't think maybe he intends to. He looks like a guy who's a good talker.
He's a good talker.
But the whole thing, they're not going to let you. Like, the real thing I want to ask is, how in the hell, what alliance did you make that you think you're going to be permitted to cause any change to this maniac empire? A lot more than you have tried. Now, he is like he seems smart as hell, and he does what do you call it, like politic well, but you're one dude and you got to build a coalition of people that also want to dismantle it, and I don't see that happening. I see at best having a few people that are working against you that are supposedly working for you at all times. The translator thing you were telling me about, Trump didn't want to bring a translator to talk to Putin. They go, see, he doesn't want them. Like, you're saying they're like a spy? Like, what are you going to, what is a president really even going to do at this point? It has to be an overhaul of 20 things. It's going to be a few years with actual collapse, and he's like the beginning of people coming in saying things that are openly true and not telling you you're crazy.
So, I mean, there's the permanent state, there's the deep state, and so the
shadow government owns the deep state.
That's right. And Israel's part of the deep state, by the way.
Yeah,
so
they're not the shadow government anti-Semites. They are just part of our deep state, Mossad. And of course, the great Jeffrey Epstein, who died for Israel's right to defend itself. And all of you who support Hamas are spitting on his on his sacrifice.
Come see us do a live stand-up show. We'll be in Venice, California, Palmdale, California, Omaha, Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Boston, Massachusetts, and we're going to Europe. Do you live in Europe? We're going to be there. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.